How can we go back to being friends when we just shared a bed? So guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing a radical shift in culture because I think the notion that someone with this specific message in this way would blow up, I think a while ago would not be too realistic. If you look at the likes of Sabrina Carpenter, you look at Olivia Rodrigo, you look at Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, whoever you want to call it. I'm no genius when it comes to mainstream music, but you're seeing a serious shift in culture because what this artist is singing about, Sombr, I hope I'm saying that right, is the sacredness of intimacy and sex. And he's been like, how can we just go from being, having the most intimate moment possible to just being friends, which is what our culture screams at relentlessly. And that's not to say that anyone who has obviously been intimate with people, like many of us have, there should be any shame or anything like that. I'm not saying that remotely. And there's a massive issue in Christianity with this absolutely repulsive prudishness to those that do. And I completely disavow that. And I cannot stand when Christians do that. But what he's saying here is basically like the intimacy and the heart attachment of being intimate with someone. Like, how can we go from that to just being friends like nothing happened? Now, obviously singers have sang about stuff like this for a very long time, but I haven't seen a singer blow up and be so focused on this point. And if you look at the music he's making, it's very counterculture and traditional, but it's kind of under the guise of a more pop mainstream view of things. And like, they are completely blowing up, Sombr. I hope I'm saying that right. And there's another video they did, a song, it's called Undressed. And again, it really shows a massive shift in the culture, because I would not have thought a few years ago, as a young person myself, 22-year-old bloke, that an artist would blow up simply rebelling against the sexual culture that we live in. Now, you could say Ed Sheeran, certain people have spoken about before, but this is far more blatant. This is far more a wrecking ball in the spanner. And I think it shows a cultural moment of a shift of this liberal order of things about, sex doesn't mean anything, that, making love to someone doesn't mean anything. There's nothing wrong with just sleeping around, like, just be friends with benefits, or just like, these things don't really have an impact. It's all just suppression. It's all, be free, discover yourself, self-love, however people dress it up. You're seeing young people feeling lonely, feeling terrible about themselves, which is completely understandable. And obviously this is a multifaceted thing, economic structure, people can't buy houses, people aren't having kids, people aren't getting married. And also to add, like, I'm 22, I don't have a girlfriend, I'm not married, so I'm no one to sit on my high horse over it. But it's fair to say that the lies, the pernicious, devious lies that people got told will basically, your sexuality is your whole identity. All these lies that young people have told for so long, people are starting to wake up to it. It's as Clive Staples Lewis, as I always do, bring him in, the man, the legend, Mr. Lewis, the amazing Christian himself, one of my much adored people, maybe a bit too much, in fact. He speaks about how, there's nothing wrong with liking food, right? You can like food, you can enjoy food. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And he compares it to sex, really. And he says, but if you went to a society and a culture where you have a bunch of people sat watching a striptease of a bit of food, licking their lips and rubbing their tummies, you think something has gone awfully wrong. And I think this epitomizes the culture we live in now, because we have such a admiration and adoringness. Is that even a word? I don't even know. Of sex, whatever it is. And that's not to say as well, I'm not a sinner to this. I lust, I fawn over people. That, I'm not speaking from a higher soul. I'm a massive culprit to this, and I'm not going to ever say I'm not, because I completely am. To my own shame, I'm a bit ashamed about it. But this culture, everything is dressed up in sex and just nakedness. You buy a fucking toothbrush, the woman's half naked. You you go and buy some tea, the adverts got some person that's half naked, both men and women, and people wonder why they hate themselves. When we have naked bodies everywhere, you go on the tube, you see everything is sexualized. People's worth is just embedded in this way someone looks. And what a sad society where that's how we value people, especially women as well. You know, for so long, you know, the way a woman, and this will make you sound like a bit of a soy boy, but the way a woman is valued is so much how she looks. You know, that's why there's this massive fear of getting older for a woman, I think. And that, you know, they'll run off and find a younger woman. And it's so sad we live in that culture where so much of someone's worth is how they look. And, you know, obviously social media's heightened this and stuff. And it's very sad. And it's something that definitely affects me, to be honest. Like, you know, I focus on my image too much and how I look when I go outside, like, and it's just such a waste of time and absolute nonsense. And it's not from a place of love. It's not from a good place. But here we have Undressed by Sombr, which I think is a great interest. The music video as well speaks volumes. So give this a watch. I don't wanna get undressed for a new person all over again. I don't want to get undressed for a new person all over again. And look at this frame. You have people, obviously, you know, everyone. You got some men there shirtless. You got some women wearing bikinis, or not to obviously like shame people there, but like and he's obviously dressed out. He's wearing trousers. He's wearing his blazer, kind of a more traditional look, and they're all running after him. And I think what the symbolism of this is, the culture is screaming at you to act one way, but I don't want to act that way. I don't want to be part of that. I reject it. And that's why you have all these people running at him and he's there, carrying on running. Wow. It's actually I don't know who did the cinematography for this, but what a brilliant frame. And what are the actual, so the lyrics, I think, are really, really something. Here we go. I don't want to get undressed for a new person all over again. I don't want to kiss someone else's neck and have to pretend it's yours instead. I don't want to lean another cent. I don't want to learn another cent. I don't want the children of another man to have the eyes of the girl I won't forget. I don't want to undress for a new person over. I don't want to kiss someone's neck to pretend it's yours instead. I don't want to dress for a new person all over again. Wow, what a brilliant message, really. Just speaking about the heartache of when you share that sacred, beautiful moment, and, you know, and when that's ripped apart, the devastation that has is just unbelievable. And it's so true. And I think and massive respect to Sombr for actually making this type of music. Now let's actually see what else in the music video. I don't wanna kiss someone else's neck and have to pretend it's yours instead. I love that as well, how he's jumping, like he's happy, like he's got away. And in this shot, maybe I'm looking into this too much, ladies and gentlemen, maybe he didn't mean to do this at all. But in this shot, you see none of the crowd. So you see when he's running, the crowd are behind him, he's sad. When he's out, he's jumping for joy. So it's basically like, you know, when he's really himself, you know, quote unquote himself, quote unquote loving yourself and all this stuff, he's happy. But he's not loving himself. He's not himself in that sense. What society screams at you, that your sexuality, wearing nothing is a part of everything and your whole identity and all that liberal thinking, sex doesn't mean anything, or sex does mean something, but, you know, it can be a bit of fun. It doesn't really matter. And when he's actually away from that all, he's happy. So it's an interesting shot, that, actually. Maybe I am just reading way too much into this and none of this is what it means at all. Who knows? I took the train to see my mother. I look across the tracks to see you with another. There's nothing worse than seeing your lover moving on while you still suffer. I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, but the glimmer in your eyes is saying you won't leave. You're saying to me what So that's an interesting shot. So it then shows her and him now running off together, and culture coming through them, screaming at them. And what an interesting kind of shot and thing to kind of think about. And I'd maybe, yeah, but I'd also, what a song as well. But anyway, we may as well listen to it. I also love that. So now they're going up the car park and they're showing themselves going up a hill. So it's like so difficult to get away from this and all the temptations and porn and everything. And I think this really shows that. And also how she's dressed as well. I think it shows that her like innocence. I mean, because that kind of does look a bit like I don't know, some sort of uniform or something. So maybe it shows kind of her innocence, and they're both running to keep this kind of innocence about, you know, what it means to love and have sex and all this. But again, maybe I'm looking too much into it. Anyway, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Is there a cultural shift happening? I do think there is. And the fact that this man, Sombr, is popping off shows that there is a serious shift in the culture, the lies, the pernicious myths young people have been sold. And I think people are waking up to that. But I hope you did enjoy. Like, subscribe, check out my Substack below. Email, you can just get on the email list. It's completely free. It means so much and make a big difference. But yeah, love you all. And I'll do some more videos because there's a lot of interesting stuff around this cultural stuff, and I think it's important to talk about because it is what we live in now. It's the world we live in. But yeah, love you all. Take it easy. Peace.